welcome to a new episode of Covideo Connection. I'm Aaron, and we're wrapping up the Simpsons week. Today we're going to look at cults. In an episode called The Joy of Sect, Springfield gets taken over by a cult called the Movementarians. In real life, cults do exist. The Christian view and the world view, they don't often agree. But they do agree on the fact that cults are dangerous. But what makes a cult a cult? What makes it different from a religious group? Many cults start off as a church or a small group that branches off from a church. So what's the difference? I'm going to give you 4 ways to know that you might be involved in a cult. The first is if they replace biblical doctrine with new doctrine. In the Joy of Sect, the whole point of the Movementarians is that they're all going to eventually go on the spaceship to this peaceful heavenly planet. Of course, there's nowhere in the Bible about a spaceship or going to another planet or anything like that. Of course, salvation is going to come through the second coming of Christ. But that's often what happens. And if you think that sounds crazy, you should just hear some of the actual cult doctrine over the years. It sounds just as crazy as a spaceship. The second way we know that you're in a cult, if they try to isolate you from your family and friends. With Homer, they invited him on a weekend retreat, but used brainwashing techniques to get him to become part of the cult. And that's what they do. They don't want you to be around friends or family where they can say, hey, this sounds weird. They want to isolate you and where they can put their own spin on things and basically brainwash you. And so you got to be careful. And that's why it's always good to have friends and family and a good support team around. The third is they want you to worship the leader more than God. In the Movementarians, the guy is actually called the leader. And there actually is no mention of God. The closest sometimes you actually hear to anything about God in a cult is if someone claims to be the second coming of the Messiah. But other than that, they want the focus on them. And that's, of course, wrong. God should be the focus of our worship. And the last way that you know you're in a cult is if they cross biblical boundaries when it comes to sex and marriage. In the Joy of Sect, everyone had to get married. Homer was lucky he got Marge, but comic book guy had some strange girl they didn't even know as his wife, and Principal Skinner had to marry his mother. Ugh. And in real life cults, often, especially the leader, he gets multiple wives, and he often gets women pregnant, more than one at once, and they feel privileged because they're the chosen one. It's some weird stuff. I know the ideas of what love and marriage is in real life can sometimes differ, but this stuff is really messed up.
Yellow. You'll have to speak up. I'm wearing a towel.
Hi, everyone. This is your old pal Timothy with another Bible verse. Matthew 7, verse 15. Beware of false prophets, which come in sheep's clothing, but are inwardly ravaging wolves.
If it's clear and yellow, you've got juice there, fella. If it's tangy and brown, you're in cider town. Now, there's 2 exceptions, and it gets kind of tricky here.
You can stay, but I'm leaving.
Can be yellow if they're using late season apples. And of course, in Canada, the whole thing's flip-flop. Oh, my.
All right, I hope you enjoyed not only this show, but all week with The Simpsons. I know I did. I'm going to show you just a simple fridge magnet, or is it a simple fridge magnet?
Why don't you start your diet tomorrow?
Yeah, start your diet tomorrow. This is awesome. One of my favorite little Simpson toys that you can pick up. I hope you have a great weekend. We'll see you on Monday.